We're going back so far today, aka Patters. This is really a moment. I always look back at it because this is one of the comics I've had for my entire life. It's never left my side. It's never left my bookshelf because it is a graphic novel format. By graphic novel, I mean the Marvel comic books definition for magazine size graphic novels. This book's been with me for a long time. The more I look back at it, the more I recall the moment I discovered Cobalt 16. I was at my friend's birthday party, and one of his relatives, the night before, he got some early presents, and one of them were like a couple comics. They knew he liked comics. They knew his friend Pete likes comics. So in Walden Books, this lady, this relative of his, she purchases Cobalt 60. Now, around this time, him and I discovered Wizards, the Ralph Bakshi movie. We discovered Wizards just kind of off of a conversation. At the time, we both kind of sort of saw it on cable television, and I was the one able to track it down at one of our two local VHS rental shops. Come home, I get it. We have school the next day. We come back from school and we watch Wizards, and our mind is blown. AKA War Wizards was the original title for that. I've done an episode recently about it on my AKAPAD, the Film Buff podcast. Wizards somewhat is like a big nod to Cobalt 60. We didn't know that at the time. We didn't know who Vaughn Bodē was, or Ralph Bakshi. We didn't know these things. To us, Cobalt 60 and Wizards was the same exact thing. They look so similar. So at his birthday party, I am just blown away by this book. I don't know how his parents even let him have it, because Cobalt 60, blood, violence, boobies, very sexual, very over the top. He's blowing guys' brains out of their heads, all this stuff, right? I begged my mother to take me to the mall, and we track it down in Walden Books, and I was like in awe. I just couldn't believe, and at the time, we did have the direct market. We had a local comic shop, but the local comic store really was, like American comics. There wasn't even a lot of early anime available at this time, even though there were like Cyborg 007 or 005, Astro Boy, those very early epic issues of Akira, even the epic issues of the Mobius stuff. You would more likely find some of the French stuff. You could go to all the New Jersey or South Jersey comic shops, and you can get Mobius everywhere. But a lot of the anime, not really. So even with anime coming into fruition at this time, it's like my senses weren't aware that we can go this mature. And that's the revelation I get every single time I look at Cobalt 60. So for today's presentation, for today's showcase, I wanted just to give you guys a flip through and a little bit of the history of the publishing nature of Cobalt 60, because it does exist in 5 volumes. First appearance, Marvel Epic, if you remember the Epic magazine. And it's a truly, true underground comic book, or COMIX. It's a comics. Now, recently we've been going back and forth. Is it an outlaw comic book? I don't care. I hate that term. To me, this is an underground comic book with subversive imagery and subversive messaging. We're going to do a future episode where I get into all 5 of those volumes. I don't have them all yet. I only have one of the original run. But I just want to show it off to you guys and kind of reveal a little bit of something that is highly inspirational and deep and meaningful to me. Every single time I look at this book, aka Powders, I go back in time. It's not nostalgia. It's not any of these things. It's just a recall. Now, did I set my illustration style and my artistic nature and all? Did I pursue any of the style in Wizards and Cobalt 60? No, because I was able to appreciate that they were expert And here we go, AKA Padders. So here's the wild thing. Let me move the heads off of my desk. Guys, before we get any further, just give me a holla. Give me a holla in the comments. Say hello to Crypt and say hello to our boy Pike. These are our two table mascots. And maybe in this year, maybe I'll do a comic book where these two guys team up and put their forces of evil together to rage hell in the Extreme and Wildstorm universes. Vaughn Bodē, Mark Bodē, Larry Todd. This is, I've had this with me my entire life. I hope my friend still has his copy. I saw him at Eagles Tailgate. He lives out of state. I think he's in North Carolina. Saw him briefly, and just so you guys know too, my friend that bought this, or guy for his birthday, he in the large view was a artistic rival in my eyes, and he could do things that I couldn't do. Like, he just had better rendering and better hand-eye coordination, better just better all around. And I feel like it took me my entire life to get better than what I thought he was. And in a way, it's me chasing a ghost. So before we crack this open, man, maybe this is already 3 or 4 years ago, I bought Cobalt 60 Book 3. These were spiking on eBay. This was the one I thought I got this for a steal. Might have been $20-something. These in the variety have fluctuated between $20 and over $100 through eBay. Now, I thought this was book 4, so I'm like, oh, let me just get the run-in. Let me get book 3 and really kind of see if I can put things together and understand more about Cobalt 60. What I didn't understand, and this too is published by Tundra, Kevin Eastman. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle money right here. There's 4 editions like this, magazine size, staple bound. There's 4 of these by Tundra. First premiered Marvel Comics Epic, and then there's yet another one, like one shot, one off. So there's maybe like 6 separate editions that have the character Cobalt 60. I thought I was doing something cute. I thought it was like, oh, let me just like be able to read all of this. So I haven't read this in a very long time, and I haven't read this at all once I realized this is number 3 of 4 of these ones. Don't you love it when you just open up a book with pencil drawings? See, this dead soldier. And how are you not already in love with this? I love the quick marker work. You can kind of see maybe he's using Doc Martens. You know he's on like a board because we can see some of the colored pencil coming in over the Doc Martens, and it's textured. There's a YouTube page. They were trying to make this into a animated movie. I may do a video on that. But I always wanted to do a run of Cobalt in my style and do my own Cobalt story. And see, we can see here, we plenty of nudity. This isn't as violent as the edition I'm about to show you guys, but this overall concept of what sequential storytelling could be, meaning it's not an American art style, it's very graffiti, it's very underground, it's very serious at times. A Fool in Love, featuring Franklin Gothic Green. So he portrays this character a lot, but it's a universe of characters. But look at some of the detail. The path that this led me down was a little bit of where I arrived with Crumb, the documentary, where I realized, and I was happy, I was fortunate enough to see Crumb at an early enough juncture, where I realized that, you know, like there was something to just drawing. Like you just have to draw and just draw. Like, draw it and let it come out of you. Between Cobalt 60 and Crumb, I was able to kind of meet those two. Now, a lot of these pinups, a lot of these are available on eBay, believe it or not. Yeah, James O'Barr, Rick Beach. So here it is, Cobalt 60. What does it retail for? $8. You guys can see, like, I know it's hard to tell with this type of tape glue binding, but you guys can see right here. I mean, the pages are about to come out. So this shot up in value too, from time to time. I love the black. And yeah, the one thing about the black and white here, like actually two things that I absolutely love, is the negative panel borders and then the straight up black. It's so cool looking. Radio City. So I believe this is the final run of Cobalt. I think by this point he's become, like, he was king, or he becomes king. I mean, I used to like this. I used to love this sequence. This little, like, these floating guys. They're floating. They don't have legs. Then he's just like blasting his gun. And he just like spins around from the feedback from the gun. This is just insane stuff. And this is a little bit what I mean about Wizards. Like, this guy looks like Black Wolf from Wizards. And you kind of, you know, like, you would think, like, oh, like, is all of this the same universe? Is all of this the same thing? But, you know, like, and this is all before, like, you have to understand, before, like, this is before, like, Star Wars Episode 1, where you would have to read a comic book to get a shot like this. You would have to read comics. And if you didn't, like, the rest of the world, the normies out there, the normies would have to wait for Hollywood special effects to catch up and be able to do these, like, far stretching into the horizon army shots, like what we got with Lord of the Rings. And now we just take it for granted. Like, just insane stuff here. But this was a lot of, like, look here, his animal dies. Oh, you know, this is as sad as when Max dies in I Am Legend. But see what I mean? Like, it's just like tearing these people apart. And it's a straightforward story, but yeah, like, he cuts off this dude's head, and then here they unmask him. Yeah, Cobalt 60, hail the king. He becomes king at the end. I'm pretty sure, like, that's how we end. That's the end of the Cobalt saga. A lot of what we do on Saturdays is me sharing things with you guys, with the intent that you get inspired and you move on, and you take this and you do something with it. On this channel, though, we're a little bit of a completionist. We get a little obsessive about things. I want to bring you the entire saga, and I want to bring you the entire publication character arc, with everything I mentioned today. So all of that will be coming. AKAPAD, subscribe, support, leave a comment, and